Kia ora everybody, today I have some exciting news that I wanted to cover. It's also news that kind of concerns me though, and so I wanted to get my thoughts out there to see if anybody else out there agrees with me. I haven't felt this conflicted on a news leak in quite some time now, which is how you know it can be interesting. The reveal is going to be that we're talking about LEGO Simpsons and a potential Krusty Burger set. Images of the mock-up that you can see here are provided by FastBrickStudios. There'll be links to everything in the description that I talk about today, and everything that he's done over the years, because this is the main topic that I want to talk about today. Reports are leaking that LEGO set 10352 will in fact be a Simpsons based set, and it will be the Krusty Burger, which will match the design and style of the Simpsons house and Kwik-E-Mart, hopefully, released over a decade ago. This past week all we knew was the set number, but now we have the price point, 230 USD, which is around 380 NZD. I'm going to assume then that this gets rounded up to that $400 price point for me. The only information that we know right now is that set number, the rough release time frame of a spring-summer season, and now we have the price. Piece count, minifigures, the actual build design, all of that is speculation, but that's what this video is meant to be. Now quickly running through some stats here on the previous models, both of these released at the same price point of 200 USD back in 2014 and in 2015. The New Zealand price for the house was actually 400 NZD and 350 NZD for the Kwik-E-Mart because it featured a few hundred less pieces than the house, which was actually surprising to see here. You can see on screen the current value for these sets in sealed conditions in my country. These are very sought after. Essentially, over the past decade, the Kwik-E-Mart has more than doubled in its price, and the house has increased by almost 300 NZD. The Simpsons house here contained 2,523 pieces in total and 6 minifigures, 5 of them remaining exclusive, but really they were just alternate variants of the CMF figures that you could buy for $5 each. Maggie herself was even later re-released in the second series of minifigures, removing her exclusivity from this set entirely, but the minifigure was better too because she included Santa's little helper as an accessory. The Kwik-E-Mart then released the following year with less pieces actually, 2,179 pieces in total and 6 minifigures, but this time only 4 of them remained exclusive. Homer, Bart, and technically Marge too were reusers here. Marge uses like a different hip piece or something, so technically she's exclusive, but come on. The Kwik-E-Mart though does feature the only character exclusive figure to this day with Snake, a fact that hopefully is about to change with the release of this upcoming Krusty Burger. I have to assume then this Krusty Burger won't be out of scale with these sets then, so expecting the piece count to actually be pretty similar to the Kwik-E-Mart's, because that square shaping that build has works wonders for me for what a Krusty Burger should look like. It just needs to be a bit more wider really, so it could match the house's piece count, but the design should look pretty similar to the Kwik-E-Mart. As for what I want to see in the build, the best part about the Kwik-E-Mart to me was just that if you weren't a fan of The Simpsons, it makes for a really great convenience store build. I would love to see fast food chains built into LEGO. They did have that McDonald's set years ago, but licensing and all that kind of gets in the way, so basically building a Krusty Burger that could just be used as a fast food joint in your LEGO city, to die for. That's going to be incredible for me. As for the figures to be included, people were thinking that they would be newly styled heads that looked like regular minifigures. We did see something similar to that design in the official Brick Like Me episode in the 25th season of the show. New reports have reassured us that LEGO are not doing that. These will be mimicking the same designs from the original releases. Designs that some people actually really hate, so I figure those will be disappointed here with this kind of news, but it's a good thing in my eyes because I'm a big fan of those molded heads. The figures that I really want to see then, tragically, I think you need to bring in the whole family back because 10 plus years is a long time to go without the family in sets. Assuming this Krusty Burger here is a one and done set, then yeah, you need to have the family here, but the reason that disappoints me is only because that takes up 5 entire slots of figures. I would hope that they would push out the figure list then, especially if that price point has been increased slightly compared to the previous ones. The only reason those previous sets having only 6 minifigures each was acceptable to me, and I'm assuming everyone else, was because they had an entire CMF series of figures available on the shelves right next to those sets for the price of like $5 each. An incredible deal when you look at the current value of some of those figures like Mr. Burns. I would want to see at least 10 minifigures minimum here, and I mean it, I'm putting my foot down on that, minimum. I want more than 10, but at the very least 10. You obviously need to have Krusty again, given it is his restaurant, and if we're up to me, that would be it for the repeats. No more repeats from those previous CMF series. I'd also like to see something new with these guys, some newer expressions. It's pretty tough though for LEGO to do with these molded heads, and they've tried that with the previous figures from the house, and the result? Unpleasant, to say the least. Costume changes would be appreciated then. I've said for some years that I think Homer's occasional green jacket would be cool to see in sets. You could take the Bartman body of that classic orange and give it to Bart, now he's in his more classic attire of the orange over the red. In saying that though, I do ruin things for those who missed the original figure's release by requesting brand new designs like outfit changes, which is why I lean more heavily towards changing the expressions, maybe give them something a bit new. It's a lose-lose scenario there really, but what I have to remember is that I am in the privileged enough state to have every figure that has released already, so my time is up. This here would be ideal for the newcomers to finally get what they want. Now as for new figures, oh boy, Squeaky Voice Teen is a must-have for me really. He's right up there with characters like Mole Man and Professor Frink as those niche characters that you want to see build up Springfield. These are the characters that we desperately need to see here. On that note though, LEGO have a lot to make up for when it comes to mainline characters being skipped over in the CMF series, something I think would have been fixed if we got a Series 3. LEGO have recently loved tapping into that meme culture and internet humor lately. Everybody just lost it when they realized they could recreate that Wolverine sad meme, because we are very easy to impress, it turns out. If they're gonna do that, great, give me steamed hams. Skinner was way too important to be ignored in the previous releases, a shocking move on LEGO's part because at least we understand why Moe and Barney had to be skipped over. I disagree with the decision, but I get it. There's no excuse for Skinner though. I can see it now, you can have Skinner on the box sneaking through the window getting into the kitchen as a play feature. People will love it. Chalmers is another really great niche inclusion that again helps to just build out that world of Springfield. The last couple of slots then, I really just want to see more customers in the store so it makes it feel a bit more populated. I'm gonna cheat then and pick at least 2 more slots, which I think should be used for people like Lenny and Carl, a duo of citizens who again just help to ultimately flesh out that world a little bit more. If I can come away with the set in hands giving me 4 to 5 new characters for my Springfield bunch, I will be very happy. The previous models also released with some vehicles like Homer's family sedan and Wiggum's police cruiser, so it makes sense then to release another vehicle here, especially when it's a fast food joint that will likely have a drive-through option. Marge's station wagon then is the absolute ideal pick for me, or even the Canyonero will do well here. Easy picks I feel. This all seems promising and exciting for people like me, die-hard Simpsons fans, so why is this concerning? Well, it's because of LEGO Ideas and what's been happening over there with FastBrickStudios as well, the fan designer who made and submitted his idea of a LEGO Krusty Burger now 3 times. For those who don't know, rapid fire really quick, LEGO Ideas here is a program in which you can design and submit your idea, and it could potentially be produced into a real-life LEGO set. If your idea reaches 10,000 supporters on the site, LEGO will pit it against the other ideas that also reach that allocated threshold within that amount of time, and they will judge those sets and pick 1 or maybe 2 sometimes to become a real life thing. I want to say I've covered this design from FastBrick Studios before on this channel, like when it's been made it into the voting stage, it's pretty much always received the vote from me because fan bias, guilty. This model has actually reached this status twice now, with the first submission here being dated in 2020, where it was up for review around October of 2021. It was in that Ideas review where it was confirmed that the model was not going to be one of the lucky ones selected, unfortunately. And actually, these October 2021 results are crazy because there's so many submissions here that were rejected for this review, but they ended up getting picked later on down the line, some of them outside of the Ideas line. You have the Nightmare Before Christmas set, but I think this exact model ended up making it through another Ideas round, and this is the one that was chosen and released this year, in fact. You then also have Hyrule Castle for Legend of Zelda. We got a Legend of Zelda set for the first time this year after having so many Ideas sets over the past decade. This was the infamous Ideas one that featured not 1 but 2 Office creations, and I believe only one of them was picked and credited. Tiago, of all people, made an Animal Crossing build, and Animal Crossing ended up getting its own theme later on down the line. I think that came out either late last year or early this year. There is a very big model of the Shire here, and rumors are saying that we're apparently going to be getting one sometime next year. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is here. This exact model, I believe, has been chosen for a different idea submission. We have here FastBrickStudios Krusty Burger, which is the subject of this video today. And then controversially, we have here Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs by Han Was Yellow First, another key subject that we will be discussing for this video. And then quickly looking at his second submission here, the next model was uploaded in 2022, and it was actually up for review around August this year. And this is the crazy one here, where Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was the model that was chosen. It's the same one from 2021, so props to that guy, really good hustle there. Like I mentioned, the main one that I want to talk about here is Snow White. Designed by Han was yellow first, and submitted a few times because it was successful at reaching 10k more than once, very similar to FastBrickStudios and his Krusty Burger build. The set here was selected alongside the Jazz Quartet and the Office for the first submissions that we looked at here in this segment. Snow White was in a really weird state where for the first time that I remember in LEGO Ideas history, don't quote me on that, they publicly said that the model was yet to be confirmed and it needed to be looked over once more. We had a question mark insignia here appear in the corner as opposed to the usual green tick. What's unfortunate about this status is that it's not the last time it would happen in the LEGO Ideas program. So the set remained under review until early February 2022, where we learned that the A-frame cabin and BTS sets would be the next sets in the Ideas pipeline. There, the Ideas team confirmed that Snow White would not see it through production. Now the real kicker here is that Snow White eventually did receive a LEGO set, as you can see here on screen, and the set is genuinely very close to Snow White's Cottage from the Ideas line. Enough changes were made here, so I guess it can be claimed as its own separate thing. In fact, there's so many additions here that it greatly increased that piece count and price point compared to what we would have had to pay if the original design went through. I have the instructions here in its PDF format because I don't own this thing myself. It's $450 and all. Tragically, Han was yellow first is not mentioned anywhere in these instructions. It's not an Ideas set, there's nowhere that states that they need to be mentioned or anything, but I just feel like this set wouldn't exist without their input of putting the idea out there in the first place, personally speaking. And while researching into all of this, I actually did find FastBrickStudios on YouTube, where he's covered the history of making the Krusty Burger and many more videos dedicated to LEGO Simpsons here on his channel. He recently made some interesting videos talking about this exact discussion that we're having here. Again, I'll be leaving links in the description down below. The video here covers his thoughts on the new set being announced. He essentially says that he finds it very convenient that his model received over 20,000 supporters, only to be rejected, and now LEGO is seemingly making their own. Now his claim here is that he provided enough evidence with his models to prove that there is a market for LEGO Simpsons here in the 2020s. I actually 100% agree with his claims here. These are wild theories and they're really fun and crazy to talk about, but I am fully on board with this one because it's something I've been suspecting for quite a few years now. There are plenty of other examples of LEGO Ideas submissions that have made it through the review period that unfortunately did not make it into final product, but they were eventually made into sets on their own. Now this is nothing but a good thing for us the consumers. It means that regardless of whatever the results were, we still get to have that set for real. But the Ideas program does celebrate and benefit the winners being selected, and so if the model is made outside of the program, those fan designers receive nothing, not even a credit for their work in the instructions. Now I understand the knee-jerk reaction to just call this a coincidence, which, you know, it likely is. LEGO do work years ahead in development. They're not going to announce on the Ideas submission board that you cannot submit Animal Crossing because we're actually working on that right now. We just won't release any for another 2 years. It's just that it happened enough times now, I just find it interesting. Also, this community here loves to credit a specific LEGO Star Wars channel as the sole reason why these sets here exist in LEGO. I feel like these LEGO Ideas claims have a bit more weight to them personally. Now some comments here do disagree with him, of course, that's what makes it an interesting conversation. Ant Bandit here says that it seems presumptuous to assume responsibility for the official set's potential existence. Historically, there are plenty of examples of rejected Ideas projects being similar to official releases. That doesn't mean that LEGO is using Ideas to gauge demand. Correlation doesn't necessarily equal causation. Brilliantly said there. And yeah, I hope I've covered the two sides here with this video. This has happened before plenty of times now. LEGO do work years ahead of their schedule, like I've mentioned. It's entirely possible that this was in the pipeline for years now, but FastBricks responded by saying this: while I see your point of view here, the situation in particular is different. LEGO have not made a Simpsons set in over a decade, and now, out of nowhere, we will be seeing a new Krusty Burger set. My IDEAS Krusty Burger was under review the second time when this rumor appeared, and my model wasn't rejected yet. My set had to have influenced this. If this was long after my project rejection, I could see it being a coincidence and agree with you, or if LEGO were to make a Simpsons house again, I wouldn't feel as responsible for this, but even then, it is still questionable as the Simpsons all of a sudden coming back after 10 years, and the Simpsons house would be far more iconic than this restaurant, so why the Krusty Burger as the first set of maybe an entire new wave of sets? It's an interesting point to me here because this specific scenario does have a lot of semantics being involved. I think I have to agree with him inherently in the decision that a LEGO Simpsons house remake, for those who missed it, is a better selling option I would imagine than a Krusty Burger. When LEGO Lord of the Rings came back into the fold last year, LEGO didn't acknowledge those previous releases and just move forward, but they also didn't revert and take steps backwards either. They did both. They released a Rivendell set which gave you every mainline character that you needed, while also offering some newer inclusions and a new build for those like me who were longtime collectors. Semantics are involved here because I really need to see this model. I have to assume that the entire family is here because the line has been off shelves for far too long now. I just can't imagine how they would think that they could get away with not releasing the whole family. But maybe this really is the start of a new revival. We've had a couple more LEGO Lord of the Rings sets release after all, and there's plenty to cover in Springfield, but this also means that every LEGO Ideas set based around The Simpsons from here on is unfortunately disqualified. In that 10-year lineup there, some people have been theorizing that a lot of licensing is now finally starting to expire given the Disney acquisition of Fox, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a much bigger push from Disney over the next couple of years. This was just something that I was thinking about lately, and I was just curious to hear your thoughts on this subject. Whatever they are, you should let me know down below. Liking this video here and subscribing to the channel does help to support more videos like this one in the future. Thank you very much everyone for watching. Ka kite anō. I hope to see you all next time.